Thompson trying to hang on to the puck. Over to Dode. Oh, Benson is scores! The Sabres have taken the lead. Zach Benson with a backhanded goal. With 15:19 to go in the third. No, you cannot use this as an excuse to die on me.
All right, hockey fans, let's go. We got Game 4, Canadiens, Sabres, and yeah, that's what we're doing. Until Montreal loses, that's the way we're rolling. Now, UPL is in net for Buffalo tonight. Not a huge surprise there. They'd already made the move to start the series with UPL and go to Lion, and you kind of figured at least they gave Alex 2 games instead of just pulling him after 1. I'm not blaming much, if anything, of how the Sabres have lost the 2 games on Lion, but at the same time, 11 goals is 11 goals, or I guess however many of those were empty net. It can't hurt change, because right now Montreal is whooping ass, and that's where we are at this point. It's 2-1. Not the last game at home, but it could be the last Montreal home game in this series if they win tonight and then win Game 5, right? Because 2-1, 3-1. Yeah, I can add. So this is as big of a game as Buffalo has had in however decades, a millennia. I mean, let's just be honest. Buffalo, if you lose this game, it won't look good. It won't look good. So what I expect from Montreal tonight is, do they have that killer instinct? Right? Do they have the ability to recognize the spot they're in and, put the boot on the neck just a little bit heavier? Or are they going to kind of sit back and be like, well, hey, it's going to be a long series, and let Buffalo back into this one? Because this is where you let the team back into the series, or where you finish them off without finishing them off. You know what I mean? Won't praise Dobish too much, because whenever I praise a goalie too much, he immediately turns into Swiss cheese. Let's just say that I've been thinking as a Panther fan about how a lot of these teams have these young goalies, young, really good goalies, and how the Panthers have drafted a goalie every year in Bill Zito's tenure, and we've got Luongo helping and the whole thing. We don't have any goalies that are ready for the NHL. None that we've drafted. Spencer Knight, we traded him, but Spencer Knight was drafted by Talon. So just find it interesting. Montreal's got 2 young goalies. You got Volstead, and very interesting. It's kind of one of those things I've been thinking about where I'm like, I don't want to think about that too long. We'll just enjoy the playoffs. And then later on, obviously, is the Ducks in Vegas. That series, mwah, perfect. Can't wait for Game 7 on that one. But for tonight, Montreal, take care of business. Let's go. All right. Oh boy. A lot in that first period. So, just talk about like 3 different periods in one. So Buffalo comes out absolutely on fire, absolutely taking it to Montreal. It's 1-0, and then they get another shot, and Kyle and I are like, did that go in? We kind of thought it went in, and then it went to commercial. And they come back, and sure enough, Buffalo had challenged that the puck had gone in, and they showed a replay for a couple of minutes, right? Several minutes. And you can see the puck is in Dobish's glove, but from overhead you really can't tell where it is. And then they show the angle where you're looking at the goal, and you can clearly see the puck is in the back of the webbing. And if you match that up with the overhead shot, it's a goal. So they call it a goal. It's 2-0. And Montreal says, ah. and they challenge for goalie interference. And I'm watching the goalie interference call. And you guys, look, I know I'm rooting for Montreal, but if you watch this channel, you know I always try to be as neutral as I can with calls. Now, I don't remember if it's 93 and 94 or 94 and 93. I can't remember, but there's two Buffalo players that end up in the crease. Now, the first one cuts across, and it looks like he does make a little bit of contact. And I was watching his stick, thinking that his stick was impeding Dobish's paddle. But it's actually, in my opinion, the other player that came in. If you watch towards the end, right as the goal's getting scored, there's a Buffalo player, it's either 93 or 94, with his skate in the crease, and he's blocking Dobish's ability to get back over. And you can actually see Dobish try to move, and he can't because that Buffalo player's skate is standing there blocking his way. I believe that's why they went ahead and said, actually, it's no goal because goalie interference. So instead of 2-0 and a Buffalo power play, it's 1-0, and then like 2 minutes later, Montreal makes it 1-1, new hook. And again, Buffalo leaving guys wide open in the slot area. Again, it's been this entire series. And then we just they've survived some 4-on-4s, and Tage Thompson takes just a stupid. I know it probably should have been embellishment, right? Thompson just like blows on the guy. It was the softest hit that you could technically define as a cross check that you ever wanted to see. But I think Gould, he just flies out like Superman, and the ref's like, yep, I'm going to call that. And then right at the end of the period here, Caulfield with a ridiculous, stupid goal. And instead of, we started a period where Buffalo was absolutely dominating, would have had a 2-0 lead, could have had 3-0. And the next thing you know, it's the end of the period, and it's 2-1 Montreal, and all of the momentum is in their favor. And Alex Lyon is just sitting on the bench like, see, it's not just me, is it, guys? Huh? And so, yeah, that's where we are. That was one period. So, I don't know if we're going to survive through the next one, but we'll move on to the second. Well, oh boy, 2-2 after 2. The only thing that ever matters is the score. Now, Montreal seems to be dominating this game, but Buffalo has a power play, and Tage enters the zone. There's really not much going on. He just dumps the puck up against the boards, and Dobish is just like waiting for it to come along from behind, because that's what the puck does when you hit it off the boards. Is it goes behind the net and it goes around the other way, and that's what the puck does. Except that's not always what the puck does. So the puck hits the boards, and just like a pinball machine. Like if there was a magnet on the puck and the magnet inside the net, it couldn't have been any more perfect. Dobish is just looking, waiting to see the puck come out from other end, and the puck goes off the boards just straight on a perfect line to hit Dobish's skate and go into the net, and it's 2-2. You can't even forget about not being mad. Just like how does the puck do that? But it did it, and so here we are at 2-2. Now, Buffalo continuing to take penalty after penalty after penalty. And the only thing I'm not crazy about, you Canadian fans can let me know about this, I've consistently watched their power play. I don't see anybody in the bumper spot. So, like, all of the action is to the outside. I rarely see Montreal set up where the fifth guy is in that bumper spot in between the box of defenders for the penalty killing team. And so all the passes either are just, predictable 1-to-1 or long cross-ice passes that a lot of time gets deflected. I don't know what's going on there. You would think they would have somebody in the bumper, but they don't. They don't. And so it's 2-2, but this feels like Montreal's game here. Honestly, they're continuing to dominate. There was even another high stick that Buffalo could have got called for that they didn't, and now they're in the middle of killing off a double minor there. Dahlin is playing horrible in terms of being stupid with the penalties. Dahlin, Byram, it's been pretty bad. Buffalo's been really, really undisciplined. They haven't really paid for it in terms of them being behind by now. And so we'll see if Buffalo can turn that miraculous lucky goal into a victory here, then the series completely changes. So Montreal, I don't want to be up for overtime tonight. All right, I'd appreciate being able to be in bed by 11:30. Finish this off. This is a game. It was weird. I'm watching this game. I feel like I'm watching the Panther game in the sense of like when I'm watching the Panthers play a game like this, I feel like they should be winning this game. Like this is a game where the score is tied, but we got this. Montreal, you're a better team than Buffalo right now. Don't blow this one. Finish this up. God, yeah, yep. All right, Montreal. So the series, the game is tied. The series is tied because you couldn't get the game tied. What a wild game! Just what a wild game. Yeah, the whole mess with the one goal that was no goal, then a goal, then no goal, and then they tie the game off. Apparently, the coaches had warned Dobish about that stanchion on the boards, but they told him not to leave his net because of it. But the interesting thing is if he had been out more towards the front of the crease, the puck might have harmlessly just gone behind him and not even gone in. And then Buffalo gets one early, mid third period here, and Buffalo decided, we have figured out how you win playoff games. You block shots. I stopped counting. I don't know if they blocked 30 shots or not, but it might have been close to that. We were at like 21, 22, somewhere long before the third period was over. And the interesting thing about it is like Kyle was saying, Buffalo figured out, you know what? If we don't give Montreal a ton of room to skate around, they have trouble scoring. It's amazing how they figured that out. Now, I understand that style of play takes a lot of energy, right? But Tampa basically did it for the entire series. They didn't win the series, but they pretty much, for the most part, kept Montreal, fighting for space, where for most of this series up until this third period, Montreal had plenty of time and space. And you got to give credit to UPL, who it was at least 30 shots on goal, 30, 32, whatever ended up being. He made the saves, and there was at least 3 or 4 times in the third period when I was like, there it is! And then it's just puck wouldn't go in. This puck wouldn't go in. And so now, boy, oh boy, so who benefits from this? Well, Carolina. This series, I think, at this point is going 7, right? I felt like Montreal had this game. They had the better of the play. And sometimes just when the puck goes off the stanchion like that and goes in to tie the game, you just start to wonder who's got the puck luck for that night. And Montreal just couldn't get one past. And, they emptied the net here at the end. But they had a lot of guys out there that were just gassed. And Buffalo never iced the puck. A lot of times you'll get the teams that are tired icing the puck, and then you get that face-off with 48 seconds left and 24 seconds left. And a lot of times it's often those draws where the goals get scored. So the fact that Buffalo was able to get clears without icing is big. It's absolutely huge, especially considering Montreal has been dominating in the face-off circle. So Buffalo did what they needed to do to win this game. The series is tied. And, I'm watching this game as a Montreal fan. I'm rooting for Montreal. I feel like they should be winning this series. I feel like they've got the better of the play. Even today, I feel like they should have won this game. But should in the playoffs doesn't mean anything. Should in the playoffs doesn't mean nothing. There's only one thing that matters, and that's what the final score is. And in this case, what does Montreal need to do to win the game? I don't know what more they can do, right? They allowed 3 goals, one of which was it was a goal, but it's not like they allowed a goal, right? It's not like it was a bad play by the defense or anything they could do. I will say this. I've said this before, and I don't watch Montreal play all the time. So maybe I'm being nitpicky here, but I tend to be that way a little bit. Hudson tends to, in my opinion, when they're in the offensive zone, I know he's got a ton of talent. I feel like he tends to overhandle the puck. I remember Mike Matheson used to be that way when he was with the Panthers. And over time, he kind of solidified, settled down a little bit. I don't know if that's what Montreal fans would want out of Hudson, but he tends to overhandle the puck. Multiple times I saw, at least in my opinion, what I felt was like either time to shoot or time to make a play, and he's just holding on to it, circling around, trying to get a little bit too fancy. I noticed that in the last game. Caulfield played his guts out. He took a shot with a stick underneath the chin. He came back. He seemed to be okay. And this was simply just a case of, and it's no criticism to Montreal, but Buffalo wanting it more. Today Buffalo wanted it more. When you're blocking that many shots, that whole second half of the third period, Montreal was just shoot the puck, shoot the puck, shoot the puck. And Buffalo was just crashing around UPL, and they were like, look, we're going to let you shoot, but somebody's going to block the shot. And it worked. And in those circumstances, it usually either works or a goal goes off of 3 bodies and you end up in overtime. So under those circumstances, on the road, Facer going down 3-1, they made the right call. They win the game. I still feel like Montreal should win this series. If I was Montreal and I played this way, the way they're playing right now, be really disappointed if you didn't win this series. So we'll just have to see how it goes. So what's today? Tuesdays. We got Thursday is 5. Saturday would be 6. And Monday, right? Yeah. Monday would be 7. So I suspect, it's 2-2. So I don't know what I'm thinking. We're going to go 7, but either each home team is going to win a game or each road team is going to win a game, right? It's going to have to go one way or another at this point. So hard to think that as well as Montreal has played, that Buffalo could get a win at home and put Montreal up for elimination. I feel like if we want to go to Eastern Conference Finals, I feel like Montreal would be a way better matchup against Carolina than Buffalo would be. I think Buffalo has exhibited enough inexperience in this series that I think Carolina would wipe the floor with Buffalo, to be honest with you right now. So that's it. That's what we got right now. It's good. We'll take the 7-game series. It's always good and fun. I'm surprised we haven't had more overtime, right? I'm surprised tonight didn't get to overtime. I thought for sure Montreal would get that goal and we get the 3 overtimes and I'd be up till 1 in the morning. But that ain't what happened. So everybody go watch Vegas lose to the Ducks. Yeah, that's the next big thing. All right, so I'll be live tomorrow at noon, and then I don't know if we're working tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is Dallas and Colorado. Dallas. I always say Dallas and Colorado. Minnesota, Colorado. I think we're probably going to skip that game. We might watch some of it. But that series seems to be going in one direction. If it ends up in a game 6 or a game 7, and it's the only game, maybe we'll cover it. So, all right, Montreal fans, let me know what you guys think in the comments. If this was a Panther game and we played that game and we lost that game, I would be extremely irritable. That's how I would be. Is extremely irritable tomorrow. So, all right, I'll see you tomorrow at noon.